What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Seeking Brother Husband, Season 1, Episode 2. Now, let's get started with Kenya, Carl, and Tiger. So, this throuple consists of Kenya, the wife, Carl, who was husband number 1, and Tiger, who was husband number 2. Now, Tiger, husband number 2, is struggling right now because Kenya is considering having a third husband, and Tiger, husband number 2, does not like that at all because he sees himself being pushed out of the way, no longer being Kenya's main man, and so he's trying to scramble and figure out what can he do to maintain his spot as her number 1 man, because her legal husband Carl, who they've been married to each other for several years and have grown children together. Her first husband, Carl, he's kind of like, chilling in the background. He's had his full share of Kenya, and now he's like, someone else is dealing with her. I'm chilling in the shade, relaxing. But Tiger, he's like running around like crazy, trying to figure out what can he do to still be her main man. So where we see them in this episode is they're looking for a bigger space because she wants to have a third husband. And the apartment that they're living in now, there's just not enough bedrooms for everybody. So they meet up with the realtor, and we get that moment where the realtor is like, what? You have multiple husbands? So we get past that. And they're looking around the home, and they don't really like it because the bedrooms are not quite big enough. The room that would have been for Tiger, the one who's struggling with this process, would have been one of the kids' room, and they had bunk beds in there, and it was a very small room. And so even the main primary room was not even that big. I couldn't believe that was a primary room. So yeah, this house was not going to cut it. So the realtor asks, why don't they all just sleep in one bed or in one bedroom together? And Kenya says because she has separate individual relationships with each man, and the men are not going to be cool with sharing one bed. So yeah, that's just not going to work. So they have to have their separate bedrooms. Kenya says that she wants to be able to move into a new home within 3 months. And Tiger says, well, that's not enough time because not only are we going to be worrying about moving, but I want to have a commitment ceremony with you. So he wants to marry Kenya and commit to her because I think he's just desperate. He wants to do something to keep a special place in Kenya's heart, because what I realized with Kenya, Carl, and Tiger and the other throuple, I think her name is Kim, Dustin, and Vincent, is that the second husband, they really struggle when the wife is looking for a third husband because they feel like they're not, in my opinion, they feel like they're not special enough. So in this particular case with Tiger, Carl, husband number 1, has the commitment because that is her legal husband. So they have the paperwork to legitimize that relationship. They have the kids together, etc. They had a long marriage together before they started this whole multiple husband thing. So they've got longevity. They've got a marriage license. So that's secure. The third husband is going to be the one that's exciting and new and spicy. So that third husband is going to keep her all wrapped up and interested and excited because it's something new. They're going to be exploring one another in so many different ways. So what does husband number 2 do amidst all of this? So he wants to have a commitment ceremony with her to have something that is similar to what she has with her first husband, Carl, which is that solidified commitment, even though it's not going to be a legal marriage. So Kenya, she does not want to have a commitment ceremony because the families are not going to be involved. His family is not down with this at all. I think Carl's family, husband number 1, I think his family is really not going to be wanting. I don't know if they're going to be wanting to participate or not, but the main issue is that Tiger, the one who wants the commitment ceremony, his parents are not interested. They don't agree with this type of lifestyle. They see Kenya as some sort of a Jezebel who, got their son entrapped in this weird relationship, and they don't like it. So Kenya is like, well, if your parents are not going to support what we're doing, then I don't want to have a ceremony, because to her, a ceremony is about bringing the families together to celebrate and rejoice in this union between these two people. So if you can't have the whole entire family together on one page to celebrate and to support, she don't want none of it. And so he doesn't understand why it has to be about the family when it should be just about the two of them. So later on, Carl and Tiger, they go play golf together, and Carl just spills his heart out. Tiger spills his heart out to Carl, telling him that I don't know why Kenya doesn't want to commit to me, just because my parents don't support what I'm doing, because it's really about me and her, not about the family. And Carl's, he listens to him, and he's thinking to himself that Kenya should be more patient and more understanding of what Tiger wants to do. And I'm thinking that, Carl is thinking it really shouldn't matter what, if the family support this or not. It really is about just the two individuals, and that Kenya should go ahead and do this if this is what Tiger really wants. So I think he's more on Tiger's side. So we'll see how that works out. Moving on to Elsa and Mike. So Elsa and Mike, they are a married couple, and they're not going to be adding like a husband, someone who's going to move in with them and join their life. They're basically, the wife, Elsa, just wants to have a boyfriend on the outside. And she wants to have as many boyfriends as, whatever the universe will allow her to have. But for right now, she finally went out on a date. She was going to go out on a date. She met someone through her dating profile. And before she went on her date, her husband, Mike, asked her, well, does he know that you're married? And she says, of course he does, because that's one of the first things that I list about myself on my dating profile. So Mike is definitely a little bit insecure. He's not comfortable with her wanting to have a boyfriend at all, because I think your wife wanting to have a boyfriend as opposed to having a husband kind of makes it seem as if your wife is just trying to get her rocks off with some strange man. And because it's like your wife is looking for something physical, because it might be better for Mike if Elsa was actually trying to find a husband to move in with them and to, make a life with them, because then that would show that, okay, I want something serious with this other person. But right now with her just wanting a boyfriend, it's kind of like she's just wanting to have fun with somebody else other than Mike. So she goes out on her date with this guy named Isaac, and Elsa said that she was attracted to him because he was completely opposite from Mike. Mike is very rigid, conservative, a 9-to-5 kind of guy, and Isaac is an artist, a free bird, does whatever he wants whenever he wants. He paints all day, one of those type of people. So she finds that very attractive, and so they're having a conversation, but the conversation tends to be centered around sex. And this is a huge turnoff for Elsa, because she's looking for a deeper connection. And all he wants to talk about is orgies and sex and, doing it with both your boyfriend and your husband at the same time and all this other craziness. So she's not interested in him. So she goes home and she tells her husband that the date was not very successful. He had a one-track mind, and she just wasn't interested. And, Mike, I think, felt a little bit more relieved. And then Elsa said something about how she's looking for someone where she can have a connection with, but she's also open to having someone who's like a friend with benefits. And Mike was like, excuse me? We didn't discuss this. And she's like, yeah, I'll be interested in that too. I'm open to that too. Having a guy that, we can just have a very casual relationship where it could be basically just based on a physical connection. And Mike says he doesn't feel comfortable with that, because obviously it makes him look like Boo Boo the Fool. Number one, Elsa cheated on him and he took her back. Number two, now she wants to have a boyfriend. And now she wants to have a friend with benefits. And so it's kind of like she's getting some type of security from Mike, but really wants to live this free single life on the outside. And I don't know if the security that she's getting from Mike, I don't know if it's a financial security or an emotional security, like this guy will always be there for me no matter what. And that's why she keeps him around. But she still wants to live like a single life, outside the home. And it's just very confusing to me. And I think Mike is also confused. That's why I think if Mike would have told her that he preferred for her to have a serious relationship, that might be better, because it seems like she just wants to get physical with some randoms and have her husband give his stamp of approval, but then she still wants whatever security that Mike provides for her. And no wonder, his mom really isn't down with this lifestyle at all. Moving on to Shara, Patrick, and Noble. This is our newest throuple. They're all in their early 40s. Now, when Shara and Patrick were giving us the history of their relationship, I don't know why I was drifting away, but I was. So I don't really know that much about them. Okay, I know that Shara is an artist. I know that she has some type of a major accident that completely changed the track of their marriage. Her and Patrick are legally married. And so when she had this accident, it really changed her as a person. She was less confident in herself. And then after this accident, these two people just stopped being intimate with one another, and they haven't been intimate in 10 years. But I never understood exactly why they weren't intimate. Was it because she's not willing or can't, or is he not willing, or is he not able to? Like, I don't know why they're living like this, but they're living this situation and living in this marriage now with no intimacy at all whatsoever. So she goes on a retreat and she meets a guy named Noble, and the relationship moved really, really fast. And then the next thing that happens, he moves in with them. And when he moved in with them, her husband, Patrick, was okay with it because it got Shara off of his hands. He didn't have to worry about satisfying her because she was getting her needs met by Noble. But then when everybody was quarantined, and they're all stuck together in this home, it got really tense and it didn't work out. And so Noble ends up moving out. So Noble moves out, but it seems like he wants to move back in. So he meets up with Shara, and they're having a conversation, and he talks about how, well, ever since I moved out, I feel like our relationship is not as strong as it used to be. And she says, well, when we were living together, I got the impression that you were not really serious about having a relationship, like having a committed relationship. She says, you're more like a fling than a ring type of guy, and that he moves like a single person. And this is, a little bit ironic, just a tad bit, because she has an entire husband and she's mad at him because, he's probably seeing other people and she doesn't like that. So she doesn't know exactly how she feels about him moving back in. And who knows how the hell Patrick feels or how he would feel about Noble moving back in, because I'm not sure exactly what happened. I heard them talking about how whenever Shara and Noble would be intimate in the home, Patrick could hear it and he didn't like it or something, or it bothered him or something. And I don't know if that's why Noble moved out, because Patrick was uncomfortable with that. I'm not understanding exactly why Noble moved out. Maybe because he wasn't really committing to Shara the way she wanted him to commit. I have no idea, but I just don't see Patrick welcoming this guy back into their home. And so we'll see how that goes, if they're going to let Noble move back in. So moving on from there, we have Kim, Dustin, and Vincent. Now, we've already met them in episode 1. And in episode 1, we found out that Kim wants to have a third husband. Her first husband, Dustin, he's cool with it. Her second husband, Vincent, not so much, because he doesn't know how he's going to fit in Kim's life when husband number 3 comes along. Once again, it's that second husband syndrome where they feel kind of like they're orbiting in space and have nowhere to land. Like they don't know what to do. Like they're like, oh my gosh, she's not going to want to be with me. I'm going to be replaced by husband number 3. And once again, in this situation, just like with Kenya, Carl, and Tiger, we have Vincent, husband number 2, who there's that security already between Kim and Dustin, her legal husband. They're legally married and they have this history together. Then husband number 3 is going to be the fun one, the exciting one, the new one. And they're going to be having so much time, so much fun getting to know each other, exploring one another, doing all kinds of things together to try to develop and build a relationship. And then where does husband number 2 fit into all of this? So that's what he's struggling with. So he meets up with Dustin because Vincent and Dustin are very, very close. And so Vincent expresses his concerns and his misgivings about Kim wanting a third husband and him trying to figure out how he's going to fit in this new dynamic. And Dustin totally understood. He says, I totally understand because he's been there. He's like, yeah, you will feel some kind of way when you see the woman that you love getting all dolled up to go out with another man and to have a good time with another man. It is going to hit you differently. You're not going to like it, but this is just going to make you stronger and you're going to be able to deal with it better as time goes on. And he talked about how he struggled with jealousy when Vincent first came into the picture. And he says, but it was just a way of, he says that he dealt with it because he knew that Kim was growing. Okay. Kim was growing. I don't know as what, a woman, a lover to someone else. I have no idea how she was growing, but he was like, he was loving to watch, Kim grow. I don't know in what way. I guess as a person. And so eventually he got used to it. He was able to get stronger. And, now it's no big deal to him. And hopefully Vincent will get to where he's at now. So Vincent, of course, he doesn't know where he's going to fit in. And he's like very stressed out. Vincent is highly stressed, highly stressed about Kim looking for a third husband. And last week's episode, Kim told him, if you want to continue to be romantic with me, you're going to have to accept me being romantic with someone else. And I'm thinking, and I'm assuming she's talking about, hey, if you want to continue to hit this, you're going to have to be okay with me hitting something else. And I'm just like, wow, Kim is really laying down the law. But your boy Vincent is so stressed. He got so stressed out. Like I said, he moved out of the house. He doesn't even live with them anymore. And I'm like, Vincent, why don't you just move on? We understand that you love Kim, but maybe this polyamorous or that's not polyamorous, polyandry lifestyle just isn't for you. It was for you when you were husband number 2 and she was giving you all of her attention, all of her body, and the two of you were the hottest thing in town. Now that you're yesterday's news, maybe it's hard for you to be yesterday's news. Dustin is okay with it because he's been down this road before. But maybe with you, Vincent, it's just, maybe this is not your cup of tea. I don't know. But we'll see how things work out. Thank you so much for joining me for this review. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video. And if you like this content, go ahead and subscribe and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.